So this is the second video in our series for individuals who are PCSing to Fort Belvoir. This is the things you should know before you get here. We're going to cover 9 different things I think you should know before you move to this area. The last one is my favorite reason for living in this area, and I think that you will find it beneficial. Before we begin, I'm Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent. On this channel, we do all the research so you don't have to. When you're ready to start your real estate journey, whether that's buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, click the link in the description to fill out your perfect home questionnaire. After you complete the form, we'll schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your real estate questions. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for future videos about relocating to the Northern Virginia area. Let's dive right in. The first thing you should know before PCSing to Fort Belvoir is that Northern Virginia, the area which kind of contains Fort Belvoir, is rather large. A lot of times military bases are located outside of the city limits on a piece of land that keeps you kind of as far away from most of the rest of the population as possible. That's not the case for Fort Belvoir. You're actually in Fairfax County, which is inside of Northern Virginia. Now, Northern Virginia is quite large in the sense that it's 1,300 square miles. There are more than 3 million people who live in this region. In Fairfax County, which is where Fort Belvoir is located, there's more than 1 million people living in this area alone. When I say Northern Virginia, I'm really talking about 6 different areas: Fairfax County, Arlington County, City of Alexandria, Loudoun County, Prince William County, and Stafford. Now, what makes up Northern Virginia is debatable, but for this channel, that's how we define it. To kind of give you some perspective of just how large this region is, Fort Belvoir is about 45 minutes from Leesburg, which is the last heavily or densely populated area in Loudoun County. And then the furthest south, I would say, Northern Virginia goes is Stafford, and that's about 31 miles from Fort Belvoir. Since Fort Belvoir is located outside of DC, you may think that your journey to most places is just like a straight route. That's just not the case. Northern Virginia, which is in Virginia, is one of the oldest settled places in America. So a lot of our roads are winding and all over the place. You know, it's not as simple as you get off of the highway, you get back on the highway. It can be a little confusing getting around here. The next thing I want you to know is that the weather here is quite mild. We get all 4 seasons in Northern Virginia. None of the seasons last too long. So while it will be quite humid and hot in the summertime, that only lasts 3 months. And then we are right into fall, which fall is a beautiful time of the year. Leaves are changing. You get a lot of oranges and these browns and these nice rustic colors. You get to wear your sweaters, but that only lasts for 3 months. Winter here is quite interesting because it snows every year, but the snow that falls isn't that big of a deal unless we have like some type of wacky snowstorm, which happens every like 7 to 10 years. I've been here since 2013. In 2014, there was this big snowstorm and it caused a lot of ruckus. Since that time, we haven't had that level of snow since. Some years we'll get such little snow that you will forget that it even snowed at all. One thing you should keep in mind if you are from up north where it really snows, people in Northern Virginia overreact when it comes to snow. Schools close down, offices close down. Sometimes the grocery stores are raided and all of the canned goods and perishable items or non-perishable items are purchased in bulk. That's just how people are up here, because a lot of people who live in the Northern Virginia area or the DC metro region, they're not from here and they're not from a place with snow, so those individuals can't drive in snow. After winter, we roll straight into spring, and in spring, you get to bring out some of those brighter vests, sweater vests, light jackets, windbreakers, and then we're right back into into the summer season. So the weather here is mild. It gives you a taste of everything. You may only wear your winter coat a couple days every year, but you will need one. The last thing I want to say about the weather is that because we have all 4 seasons, allergies here are horrible. So if you suffer from allergies, living here may be stressful at times. You're going to have to make sure that you are up to date on whatever allergy medicines you're supposed to take. Your cars, like right now, I'm filming this is in April, and all of our cars are full of pollen. There's pollen in the air. Sometimes you could see it flying around. So allergies here are horrible. Just keep that in mind. The next thing you should know about when you're PCSing to Fort Belvoir is that there is on-base housing. So Fort Belvoir is slightly smaller than the Pentagon, and the Pentagon has no on-base housing. So it's quite often that we'll have people who PCS to the Pentagon, but they originally PCSed to Fort Belvoir at an earlier time in their military career, and they think that they're going to be on-base housing. That's not the case for the Pentagon, but there is housing for Fort Belvoir. Fort Belvoir's on-base housing is called Villages at Belvoir. These are 3 to 5 bedroom homes. There are 15 unique villages, and each village is for a different ranking. Now, one of the cool things about living on base, and this is probably the same for every military base, is that, you have healthcare clinics, there are community and business centers, there's 24-hour maintenance services. The Villages at Belvoir has playgrounds, pools, there's a golf course as well. But the challenge with on-base housing here is that there is a long wait list. So it may take years for you to get approved, or you may luck up and, get approved as soon as you come in. So it's definitely something you should check out. Another challenge with on-base housing is that you can't purchase on-base housing. So this is more like a rental agreement. It doesn't give you the opportunity to use all of your VA benefits, like securing a VA loan, and you don't get the opportunity to build equity. Another thing you should know is that Northern Virginia housing market is very competitive. So you have on-base housing as an option, but there's not that much of it. And so you may have to live off base. And if you're going to live off base, you just have to get used to the fact that Northern Virginia is one of the most expensive areas in the country. It's quite expensive to live here. So how expensive is Northern Virginia? Well, Inside Nova is a like an online news publication source that did a deep dive into the 30 most expensive places to live in Virginia. 22 of those 30 places are located in Northern Virginia. So now that you know that Northern Virginia is expensive, another thing you should know is you probably are going to be downsizing moving to this area. Since home prices are higher here, that means that the price per square foot is higher as well, which means you're going to get less bang for your buck. It is very common for individuals who are PCSing to Fort Belvoir to buy $600,000, $700,000 properties that are townhomes, not single family homes. These are units that share one wall, sometimes 2 walls. Some of them come with off-street parking, some do not. Some of them come with walkout basements. Most do. So what is the delta between a townhouse and a single family home? Well, the average sales price of a single family home in Northern Virginia is $977,000, whereas a townhouse is going to cost about $650,000. So you have just over $300,000 difference between the 2 property types. So another thing you want to know before you move here is you're probably not going to be able to do a buying trip. Since homes are more expensive here, and this is a competitive market, homes sell pretty quickly. Like right now, the average days on market is under 20 days. And we have low inventory. We also have a lot of homes right now selling above the asking price. Coming here one weekend and making a decision is just not likely. For our buyers who live in Northern Virginia who are looking at this time, sometimes it takes them 3, 4, 6 weeks or so of looking before they're able to secure a property. The same could be true for you. One of the things that we have started to do to kind of respond to the fact that you're not going to be able to do a buying trip, one of the things we offer to our relocation client is the opportunity to do virtual home tours. So I, Abraham, will actually go and tour the property on your behalf, and I will record a video of it. So the video tours for townhouses last anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And then for single family homes, they're anywhere from 25 to 40 minutes. And I cover every nook and cranny of the property. Usually the videos are a little negative in the sense that I'm looking for problems. I'm also measuring rooms and trying to see if this property is really going to work for you. So that's something we offer. That way you can see what's on the market without having to have the expense of flying in for maybe 1 or 2 properties a week. The next thing I want you to know before you PCS to Fort Belvoir is that Fort Belvoir is located outside of the Beltway. The Beltway is this interstate that wraps around the DC metro area. On the Northern Virginia side of things, this is going to be 495 and 95. Inside the Beltway, you have the more expensive homes. You have sometimes smaller lot sizes, but the major regions inside the Beltway are going to be parts of Fairfax County, Arlington County, and city of Alexandria. Now, since a lot of people who are PCSing to Fort Belvoir are maybe coming with multiple people living in their households, living inside the Beltway is usually not their target location. Usually they want to stay outside of the Beltway. They get more bang for their buck. It's also very similar to other environments that they have lived in throughout the US as well. And if you are trying to get a single family home, which is very common, you're probably going to go further south into like parts of Prince William County. I would say the furthest south we see people go who are PCSing to Fort Belvoir is in Stafford, which again, another place you can get a single family home in those $500,000 to $700,000 price points. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this list. The second thing that I want you to know is that if you decide to live outside of the Beltway, you are also deciding to live a more car-dependent life. Now, this is usually not a big deal because most people who are PCS into the area, they're used to driving around, and that's going to be the case here. Even though you're going to be doing a lot of driving, one of the unique things I think Northern Virginia has done is no matter where you are in the area, you're only 20 to 30 minutes away from a grocery store or a dry cleaners or a restaurant. So while you may live in the suburbs or a bedroom community, right outside of the community or a short drive from it, you can get all of your weekend activities and errands completed. Okay, so this is the last thing I want you to know before you PCS to Fort Belvoir, and I think it's actually the best thing about living in this area. There is a lot to do. There's so much to do here that you shouldn't be surprised if some of your family members and friends decide they want to visit you because you now live in this area. Now, I won't be able to go over everything there is to do here because the list is quite long, but let's give you some highlights. First off, you have every professional sport in this region. So for the NFL, we have the Commanders. For the NBA, we have the Wizards. For the MLB, we have the Nationals. For the WNBA, we have the Mystics. For the MLS, we have the DC United. And for the people who like tennis, there is a tennis tournament called the City Open, played every summer in DC. Next up, Northern Virginia is close to beaches, mountains, and ski resorts. So you're about 2.5 hours away from a beach in Delaware or Maryland, Rehoboth, or Ocean City. You're close to the mountains. You're about 1.5 hours away from Shenandoah Mountains. If you want to go skiing, if that's what you're into, you're about 2 hours to 3.5 hours away from 2 popular resorts. One is called Whitetail Resort. The other is called Seven Springs Resort. Both of those are in Pennsylvania. Then you have road trips, right? Road trips here are going to be awesome because you are only 3 hours away from Philadelphia, 4 hours away from New York City proper, and 8 hours away from Boston. And so that's up north. And then to the south, you have North Carolina, which is about 4 hours away, South Carolina, which is about 8 hours away, and then Tennessee, which is about 11 hours away. So there you have it. I think this list gives you a good understanding of what you will appreciate or some of the challenges with living in Northern Virginia when you PCS to this area. Stay tuned. We do have some more videos in this series, and this is the 2024 update. So the next videos in this series are going to cover neighborhoods that we think you would find interesting or that would meet your needs in the area. If you have any other questions, post them down below in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.